Well, hello there. Actually, with my 8th cast, it is the lovable, huggable, but unfortunately untouchable Big Bear StarCraft 2. Like I said before, this is my 8th cast, and I will be bringing you a TVZ with Diestar versus MTW Dimaga. I do not know what clan the M weird plus sign thingy. I don't really know what to call that, but it does look kind of like a plus sign to me, so I will be calling it the M plus sign Diestar, but just Diestar in this game, the purple Terran. I don't really know what clan the M is, but I've been seeing it a lot lately, and it's a lot of solid players that I've actually never heard of before. So I'm thinking that maybe it's just a whole bunch of really good players who didn't really have their name out there, so big clans weren't picking them up, and they just decided that they were going to create their own clan and make a name for themselves that way. It kind of reminds me of me, like me casting. No one really knows who you are at the very start, and so it's really hard to create a name for yourself. But once you do actually get popularized, or start getting to be known for your commentating style or your playing style, or really whatever you're trying to get yourself known for, then it's really easy to start picking up more and more fans. It's kind of like an avalanche effect where it's really hard to start that snowball, but once you start rolling it down the hill, it does in fact get bigger, quicker, and quicker. We have some lag. Sorry about that. My computer has actually been crashing a lot on me lately. I think it is time to send it into the Geek Squad. I'm going to pause the game here and I will resume it in about 5 seconds. Anyways, I know to you guys that was about half of a second, but to me that was 5 minutes trying to figure out what is going on with my graphics card or my what's it called? What is it called? The HD driver. And trying to figure out what's wrong with it. I think that it is fixed in the sense that I simply opened a window to make my room a little bit colder so my computer does not overheat. That is the trick I am praying for. Actually a little tiny thing that I've noticed a lot is this supply depot here. It really messes me up actually. I've a lot of the times thought that it was actually a proxy some kind of bunker all in, and you can see that if you just look at the minimap here, like right down here, you see it looks a lot like a bunker, and it kind of just throws you off because you click over here to see what's happening and you're like, why is there a lowered supply depot? And for those of you who actually do not know why the lower supply depot is there, it is because three pylons will completely wall off this ramp, followed up with a cannon right behind it, and that kind of just prevents you from really going anywhere. And you can see deciding to actually throw down a bunker right outside of the vision. That is why you keep your overlord, which he does not have, so this will actually get thrown up or be really close to finished before Dimaga actually scouts it. And there you go, you see him pulling a lot of drones off of the line to try to stop this, but it will actually finish. Unless he gets a surround on this marine, but I don't think he will. And that is the simple cost of not having an overlord above your second hatchery. If you simply get an overlord above your second hatchery, you actually can easily scout it. And you can see this is cute little micro tricks where he'll pull his SCV out, actually ends up losing the SCV. He really wants to do a lot of drone damage. And if we go to this cute little extra tab that they do have, it is the units killed tab. So Control R. And you can see that only one worker was killed, so Dimaga holding that off pretty effectively, it looks like. And yeah, just destroying the supply depot. I agree with that. These supply depots are so annoying. They're so annoying to just look at, and they kind of freak you out, make you think that a Terran's building is there. So a good choice by Dimaga. And you can see actually some Reaper play, forcing the queen off of the creep. He really just wants to kite this queen as long as possible. While this may look easy, it's extremely hard to do because a Reaper only has a range of 5 while a queen has a range of 3. Oh, so actually a little bit easier to kite than I thought, but if there's only a 1 range difference, it is actually extremely hard to kite your units effectively. And when you do see pros do it, they do it so simply and so easily. And it's one of those things that's just really not looked at all. It's like even simple kiting of your units, shooting with your stalkers and then moving them back away from zealots if you see a 4-gate versus 4-gate, or any kind of roach pushes. You can see that the Terran player is opting for fast expansion. The Zerg is going to be extremely happy to see that, considering that Dimaga is an intense macro-focused player. He is sending in a lot of lings here. He may actually try to do some damage to the line if he can run past the bunker, which he does choose to do, but there's a Hellion. These lings will do absolutely nothing, provide mainly for scouting purposes and maybe get 1 or 2 SCV kills. We shall see. He's going to get 2. Is he going to get 3? I think he will. This is going to be close, and yes, he does actually get 3, not 4 though. So 3 SCV kills for the trading of 6 or 7 lings. That is, in my book, definitely worth it, even though now you do have to actually create more Zerglings and more attacking units to kind of defend your front, instead of just keeping those 7 lings there and just trying to focus solely on drones for macro. And this is what I'm saying, you can actually see that Dimaga is going for a really heavy Zergling play. He's really expecting some kind of early pressure, and rightfully so, because you see massive amounts of Hellions actually entering into its front. This Spine Caller is going to go poke, and poke away at these Hellions, but it may not be enough. He actually did lose a lot of drones in that push, and if he can get a surround on these Hellions, it will be worth it, but he's losing a lot of Zerglings. And this is why I think a lot of players opt for faster roaches. It is simply just because Zerglings are so ineffective if the player does decide to go for Mass Hellion. And this is something that more and more Terran players are doing to much greater effect. It's just simply because the Hellions give you such easy map control. Any kind of Zerg unit is going to be fearful to move out against the Hellions, and there's not really much that a Zerg player can do until you can get Roach and Fester combinations out, because even with Roaches, you can get maybe 1 or 2 shots off before the Hellions choose to run away. And like most of you know, using fire on rocks is not very good. They should mostly be saved for the soft shells of a Zergling, and he's using his roaches here, kind of leaving them in a precarious position here. If the Hellions choose to melt away these roaches, because I think that they can kite them, or maybe they have the same amount of range of 5 and range of 4. And that is just what the little thing I was saying, is that it is so hard to kite if the units have only 1 range difference, and you can see that by the roaches still getting the hits off, even though the Hellions do have extra range. And Dimaga opting for a normal time third. As a Zerg player, you generally want to get your third expansion at around 10 minutes. And this is where, as a Zerg player, you really want to start preventing the Terran player from getting any sort of expansions up, anything else. You really just want to keep him on 2 base, force him in this little choke here, and you especially do not want him to get a whole bunch of siege tanks and just let him siege up, because once that slow push happens, it is one of the hardest things to stop as a Zerg player playing against a Terran. And Diestar actually getting 2 turrets in his base. He's a little bit fearful of mutas, and I think he could have saved those. How much does a missile turret cost? Does anyone know? But he could have actually saved all of those minerals if he had just carefully bought the or if he actually carefully just wasted a scan. Maybe it's relatively the same amount of money. Let's see here, 100 per missile turret, so 200 over a scan, which is 300. And we have some more lag, so I'm going to quickly cut it out. You will miss it for 1 second, but I will be gone for 5 minutes. And we're back. For you, that was literally 1 second. Sorry about that. The Terran player is still moving around the map with his Hellions. He's actually going to scout this third base here. The only thing is that Hellions literally do 0 damage against hatcheries, and roasting a lot of Zerglings, but I think the Hellions will be trapped. No, they will not. And I think it's kind of cool, the little AI glitches that sometimes happen, in the sense that if a Roach shoots, a Hellion is fast enough to move, and if a Roach shoots and the Hellion moves, the Roach's little acid shots will chase them down for like an extra 4 feet, and it just looks absolutely ridiculous. The Zergling just sitting here, waiting for that push, and here it comes, and I was going to say that may have been the luckiest Zergling alive, but unfortunately he did die, being the sacrificial Zergling that he is. And I don't really see Dimaga holding this off. All he really has is a handful of Zerglings and Roaches and 3, 5, 6 Infestors. If he can fungal growth the Hellions, fungal growth the Marines, then he'll do okay. And you can see here comes Siege Tank. As soon as Siege Tech is upgraded, all of these Siege Tanks will siege up, and it'll just be disastrous. Opting not to siege up, but even without that siege, he still does clean this up relatively easily. But without sieging up, that kind of buys Dimaga some precious time to get reinforcements in, and there are the reinforcements, and actually taking out all of the Hellions and dropping the beach balls of death, but more reinforcing units are pushing in, and here we go. Here comes the giant siege tank line that I was talking about. You can see the Zerg player is desperately trying to add more units to his composition. These infestors are basically useless with absolutely no energy, not even enough energy to drop an infested Terran, and this is the rush that comes scary. It's actually a lot of all-in-ishness because he does drop the mules for extra supply, but he's pulling a lot of probes off of the line. And if he does lose these workers here, then it'll be a relatively even game if the Zerg can hold this off, but I really do not see the Zerg holding this off. This is where Terran is just what the fuck good. You don't really know what to do against this. You can't build mutas, you can't build banelings, and really the only way to prevent this is to not let it happen to you in the first place. Extremely good positioning by Diestar though, because he does split the two bases from each other, and there's really nothing that he can do. Training a lot of roaches and a lot of lings. I think all of these units here will actually melt away. No! He pops them at bad times, and so all of those units will get cleaned up. I forgot how good unsieged siege tanks are. You can see they actually still do 25 damage a shot with a crazy fast attack speed, opting to now siege up, but it is just too late for our Zerg buddy, who actually does fall in the relatively mid game. I guess this would still be considered mid game, mid to late game. And this is what I was saying, is that Dimaga is so weak. Well, not so weak, he's just weaker because he opts to over-drone. And if we look at the unit counting station, even when he pulls all of those drones off of the line, he pulled a lot, he still is at 53 to 60. That begs to the question to see how many he actually had when the push started. And this is just one of the downfalls of Dimaga, is he loves to macro, even if it is a little bit too much. This is Big Bear StarCraft signing out.